Molten lava and ash has exploded into the sky as Sicily's Stromboli volcano came to life. The eruption killed a hiker and sent dozens more running for safety, some leaping into the ocean.
This was the moment it blew. A live webcam providing a much safer vantage point than what people were confronted with in the village below.
Oh my God.
Witnesses say there was no warning. Stromboli volcano had simply blown up. An enormous smoke cloud was visible from nearby Sicily and the Italian mainland. Channel 9 reporter Damien Ryan was among those holidaying in the area.
We're on a boat and the driver said there'd been this massive eruption. Nothing like this has occurred, he said, for 50 or so years.
This is the local fire service heading in. They were calling it a rescue operation. Within hours, a tourist was confirmed dead, killed by falling stones.
Alison, those protests were organized across the country under the hashtag Close the Camps. It comes as the immigration debate is raging. We're here at the international border crossing, one of them in El Paso, and behind me is Juarez, Mexico, across that bridge where thousands of migrants are waiting to apply for asylum. Now, up until now, we had not seen clear pictures about how bad the backlog had gotten here across the border, but now these newly released images are offering the clearest picture yet of what a government watchdog describes as dangerous overcrowding at migrant detention facilities. The report from the Department of Homeland Security's Office of Inspector General reveals one senior manager called the situation, quote, a ticking time bomb. Government investigators toured several Border Patrol stations in Texas's Rio Grande Valley last month, and in this photo, inspectors say 82 men were crammed in a cell with a capacity of just 41.
The battle over the border continues, with Democrats complaining the conditions are inhumane, and now the Border Patrol is fighting back. In a video released yesterday, the chief patrol agent of the Tucson sector gave a mini tour of a detention center, showing people a plethora of supplies, toiletries and food, and yes, water that's good enough to drink.
The wall is marked as agua potable, which is potable water. There's nothing wrong with this water. We're not forcing aliens to drink out of the toilet.
This after some Democrats complained migrants were forced to drink out of a toilet inside these detention centers and were calling for the facilities to be shut down, especially after a secret Facebook page revealed some Border Patrol agents mocking migrants and lawmakers.
It was a cocktail of fire and whiskey when a Jim Beam warehouse burst into flames in Kentucky. Tens of thousands of barrels of aging bourbon were destroyed. The heat so intense it melted fire truck lights.
Kentucky's tastiest asset up in flames. Barrels of Jim Beam bourbon burning, 45,000 of them full of young whiskey waiting to mature for bottling, all now gone. A security guard raised the alarm as the liquor inside fueled the fire, a lightning strike possibly to blame. Come daylight, it continued to roar and crackle. The massive blaze wiped the warehouse, with crews deliberately letting it burn the distilled spirits. Local authorities confirmed the bourbon runoff made its way into the Kentucky River, threatening aquatic life.
It can happen anywhere, at any time. In Japan's southern island of Kyushu, rivers can now overflow quickly as rains continue to pour. And hillsides like this can collapse, slide, and crush everything beneath. That's why transportation is often halted. And more than 1 million people have been ordered to evacuate their homes.
We want people to take action to protect their lives by evacuating early in accordance with the evacuation advisory.
A warning that came as only thousands out of the 1 million people at risk had followed orders and found refuge in centers like this.
We do not know. We do know, thankfully, though, that this young man is free from some kind of a detention in North Korea. 29-year-old Australian Alex Sigley described himself as being in very good condition when he transited today through Beijing Airport from Pyongyang. He went missing a week ago Sunday. He was a student at a university in Pyongyang. He also ran a North Korean tour agency there, as well as some social media sites about North Korea. He's the first Westerner to disappear in North Korea since U.S. student Otto Warmbier was detained in 2016. Remember, he was later released, but it's thought that brain damage incurred during detention led to his death upon his return. Swedish diplomats assisted in Australian Sigley's release. Australia, like the U.S., very little diplomatic presence on the ground in Pyongyang.
Johannesburg Emergency Services decided to screen calls from Cosmos City after an attack on its personnel there. The City of Johannesburg's Public Safety Department says it's concerned about the increase in safety incidents. Now, EMS crews heading to certain areas will be accompanied by the JMPD.
In terms of the deployment plan, JMPD, the station commander for Cosmos City, will work closely with the station commissioner of the EMS fire station. So when there is a call out where there's a fire, JMPD will accompany the fire engine.
But want to take resources away from the Metro Police's other duties? Well, the JMPD says it will only assist between 10 in the evening and 6 in the morning.
This Trump ad features Tracy from Florida walking the beach, praising the president.
I could not ask for a better president of the United States of America.
And he couldn't ask for a better testimonial, unless it was from a real supporter, because Tracy from Florida is just a model from iStock Photo. But surely Thomas from Washington offering Trump religious support is the real thing.
In our prayers?
Nope, not a prayer that he's real. Just a bearded and tattooed hipster type from iStock. And AJ from Texas.
President Trump, although I'm a lifelong Democrat.
He's another model from iStock Photo, available for a modest licensing fee of $170. All this was first reported by the website Popular Info. What's an ad guy who spent 17 years making Democratic spots think of this?
If I did anything remotely like this for any one of my clients, I'd be fired.
Omar Games left Venezuela seeking treatment for leukemia in neighboring Colombia. He urgently needed to be admitted to an intensive care unit, but spent a month waiting for a referral in this hospital in the poor border city of Maicao.
He is receiving basic treatment and medicine, but he needs specialized treatment that we can't get here, and we don't have the money to pay to move him to another city.
His Colombian relatives fear he will die here, and he's not the only one.
At the moment, 45% of the hospitalizations are Venezuelan immigrants.
The hospital's administrator says they are overwhelmed by undocumented Venezuelans fleeing their crumbling health system. Primary care for Venezuelans in Maicao jumped from 632 cases in 2016 to more than 34,000 in 2018 and could reach 60,000 by the end of this year.
He began his career as a journalist. David Sassoli was a familiar face on Italian television, working first as a reporter and later as a news presenter, before switching to politics 10 years ago, when he was elected as an MEP for Italy's centre-left Democratic Party. Sassoli went on to be elected Vice President of the European Parliament in 2014 and 2017. Now he has the presidency. The 63-year-old has called for the EU to go back to basics.
We must recover the spirit of the Founding Fathers, who knew how to put aside the hostilities of war and put an end to the failures of nationalism by giving us a project capable of combining peace, democracy, the rule of law, development, and equality.